Dr. Anthony Fauci not done speaking out about his former boss after saying he feels liberated working under President Biden. Fauci causing even more controversy with what he told CNN. Listen.
Did the lack of candor, did the lack of facts in some cases over the last year cost lives?
You know, it very likely did. You know, I don't want that, John, to be a soundbite, but I think if you just look at that, you could see that when you're starting to go down paths that are not based on any science at all, and we've been there before.
But critics are quick to point out that Dr. Fauci made his own missteps, you'll remember, on the virus. For example, back when he said this.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
So, Juan, I'll ask you, does it help to do this sort of looking back and blame game playing that you're seeing Fauci do? He's an infectious disease expert, noted as one of the top in the world. We listen to him for the science, but then to weigh in politically and look back at the past administration, is it helpful?
Well, you know, it seems to me that, you know, even on the bite we just played where Fauci was wrong, it was March. And Sandra, what we saw was the problem in terms of Fauci being muzzled by the president and by politics went on, you know, what are we? We're in January of 2021, and it just seems to me like small ball to focus on Fauci saying there's some problem here and it costs lives. Because right now, we've got 400,000 people dead. President Biden said there's going to be 500,000 in the next few months. I think that's where we've got to focus. We've got to look at a very serious issue for us as a country. The real point, to my mind, is, you know, I say this with all sincerity, we got a vaccine. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. Everybody should wear a mask, and everybody should be willing to make that sacrifice if we can cut the death rate over the next 2 or 3 months substantially. So, to me, that's the conversation. Fauci is a well-respected man in his profession. Yes, he's made missteps along the way, but I don't think it matches up with what we've, you know, lack of leadership we've just been through for the last year.
Jesse and Juan just said everyone should wear masks. Well, Joe Biden didn't on Inauguration Day. And Jen Psaki was asked about it at the press briefing by our own Steve Doocy, Peter Doocy. Gosh, she made the same mistake. And he didn't wear it on federal grounds. He's mandating that everyone do so. And then he was pictured with his maskless family as well. So will he look back at that as a misstep and say, well, that was January?
Well, I don't want to get into mask shaming. That's not my game. I want to talk about Fauci. If Fauci really thought the president of the United States was killing Americans, he should have resigned.
Yep.
Instead of staying there and trying to be this underground hero and then stab the guy in the back the second day after he's down in Florida. I want to like Fauci as a scientist. I want to listen to him, but he's making it very hard for me to listen to him. I want my scientists to be talking about science. Every time he opens his mouth, I hear politics. You know, he's throwing out the first pitch. He's sitting for magazine covers with his legs crossed in a little chair by a pool. You know, he sounds like a pundit on CNN. He was in this administration and told us the president took early and aggressive action that saved lives, saved millions of lives with the travel ban. And the day he went into the Oval and said to shut down the economy, Trump listened and shut it down. And then when he wanted to reopen it, Fauci was on board with reopening. The only thing Fauci can do to get back into my good graces is demand that Cuomo open inside dining. Only that can make me feel better about Fauci.
Dang it, it is hard looking at all these people outside eating their dinners in the frigid temperatures.
Two little old ladies I saw the other day, both wearing fake fur coats. They were both in their 90s eating outside because they're hardcore New Yorkers. But speaking of New York, the handling so far of the virus and the vaccine has been kind of a mess. under the Biden administration this week. Jen Psaki was asked today by somebody from the New York Post, hey, New York has run out of the vaccine. Can we get some supplies, some supply doses from those in reserve for booster shots? And her response was, we're looking into it. That was a great answer. But is somebody going to pull Tony Fauci aside, this big-egoed media trollop who's on the hunt for another soundbite, and tell him to check himself because this hurts? This was a classless move, so he got tweeted by the biggest hack at CNN. I hope that made him feel tingly on the inside.
Greg?
Let's not forget, Juan brought up the vaccine. The vaccine was on Trump, not on Fauci. Trump was the one that got that thing rolling and got it out faster. That never would have happened if you relied on Fauci. The CNN anchor asked if the lack of candor cost lives. If that's the case, how many people have died because of CNN's lack of candor? I think it was Anderson Cooper who initially compared, not initially, but maybe within the first month or so, talked about how it was just like the flu, or the flu kills more people. And it was just a really ignorant comment. And also, they didn't carry the briefings. Talk about lack of candor. You could say, we're not going to show the briefings because Trump uses it politically. Doesn't matter. It's still news. It's news. You had experts there. CNN chose not to carry them. That's lack of candor. Could that have killed people? So Fauci, on technical terms, and I take this from a medical encyclopedia, is what you call a weenie. A weenie is that guy. Weenie is that guy that smiles to your face and then trashes you when you leave because he's a weenie. He's actually the reverse of Trump. Trump will trash you to your face, and what he says to you and then to the reporters are often the same thing. And I think that's why Fauci, and I agree with Juan, it's small ball. Fauci is a small man right now. He doesn't look good doing this, and that's coming from a small person like me.
Well, I'm glad you kind of came alive, Greg, because in the A block, I kind of thought you were pulling a Bernie Sanders. Your head was down the whole time. You're alive. All right, the fastest 7 is up next.